So if we want to create a window here, first we need the opening in the wall. We need these structural elements here, this one and another here, so that we can create the opening. And now a window, it's something extremely complicated. Here they have had like, they don't even have a detail of the window. They have this. We are going to do something like that, but better, I think. So first, let's try to analyze what a window is. So in this page, in this Canvas site, I have uploaded this window details in timber frame. So if we open that website, okay, so here we have a few details on residential buildings, and here we have the top of the window and the window sill detail. The sill is the space that goes from the floor up to the bottom of the window. That's the sill. So we have two kind of details. We have a passive house timber frame. Okay, so apparently they should be good details. So if I try to make it larger, is that all the resolution that we can get? Apparently. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the detail of the window. It's not well defined, but we have to create this element, and then we have to move the thermal insulation covering that element. Okay, so this is what we will do. Remember that here I did this. If I hide in view that element, the indoor okay. I told you that the first decision that I was going to make is whether we cover this beam with thermal insulation or not. So apparently in that detail, they have covered that beams. Well, here they have two elements. We had only one, but they have covered this with this yellow thermal insulation. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. But you know that we can't expose the thermal insulation. We need another element. So we need another horizontal element here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we have here the cellulose. Here they have an extra outdoor thermal insulation. We don't have that. We have an extra thermal insulation inside the window. And here they have the exterior siding. And we have to protect the window from the water. Okay, so here you see that they have this element. It's small. We can. So the first thing, I'm going to move this up to this point, then this one here, and this one there. And I have to do the same with these vertical elements. Here, this is not a component model in place. This is an actual column. So I created this column with the right dimension. And the top level is sill. So I think we have to go offset 4 inches up. Okay, yes. And then with this one, I go 4 inches up. Okay, so that's what I want. I want to move all these elements up to the same level we have here. The same thing I've done here, okay? Well, the same thing. Now I have to move it down. The thermal insulation here, here, and there. So now I have covered that beam. On this, okay, the resolution is terrible, but this is what we have to do now. Okay, so we have done this. We have the rafters. We have created that beam at the bottom of the window. We have moved this yellow thermal insulation. We need something to. We need like a cap for this thermal insulation, and then we will move the internal finish up to this. And then we need something here to cover all that stuff. And then we need something to prevent water from entering. And that comes from below the window. So here we have a window detail. It looks like a triple glazing, but it's blurry and we can't see exactly the detail here. The window details are extremely complicated. So I'm going to show you some window detail, PVC. So this is what a window looks like. Okay, so here probably we can see clearer what we're going to do. This profile, as I told you, it's very difficult and it doesn't make sense to do this with Revit, okay? The reason for all these cavities that we have here, it's by creating closed cavities, we can increase the thermal insulation of the frame, of the window frame. So that's the explanation of this. What kind of windows do we have? We have PVC windows. We have aluminum windows. If we look at aluminum windows, we can see that the profiles are slightly different. Okay, so we do have cavities, but fewer cavities. This is the window frame cross section. We are always using a triple glazing, as you can see. And finally, we have wooden windows detail. Window with that. So the window made of wood, it's probably the easier to understand, okay, because it has fewer elements. It doesn't have any cavities. We have a solid element, and this is the leaf. So that's the part of the window that moves. And that's the part of the window, the part of the frame that is fixed. Okay, we have a sealant because when we close the window, we want to prevent air from going. So that's why we have this rubber. So this rubber is we have a rubber here, another rubber there, and we create this chamber that it's tight. Okay, because this rubber, when we press the window there, we prevent air from going from outside to inside. And then we have to get rid of water outside. Okay, so this is the indoor detail and this is the outdoor detail. The window moves in this direction. Okay, and so a window, it's something quite complicated. It's okay. If we look at this, we always see the same pattern. Here we have a triple glazing. So that's the frame, and the frame in wood, it's a solid element. This is the fixed frame. This is the movable frame. And this is something that prevents water from entering here. So that's indoors, that's outdoors. So it's quite a complicated detail. But if we look at different window elements, so it's always the same, okay? In aluminum, it's slightly more complicated because the aluminum profile, it has fewer cavities. And in the aluminum profile, this red stuff we have here is important because this is the thermal break element. Okay, so aluminum It's metal, it's conductive. So if outdoors it's extremely cold and we have a continuous aluminum frame, then the indoor temperature of the frame will be the same. Okay, so if we have 0 Fahrenheit here outdoors, and if we don't interrupt the aluminum, the temperature indoors will be 0 Fahrenheit because it's very conductive. So that's why in aluminum frames we have to use this. This is made of plastic, and it interrupts the aluminum element. Okay, so it's aluminum outdoors, it's aluminum indoors. We love aluminum; it's a nice material, but we have to interrupt it in the middle of the frame, of the fixed part of the frame and the movable part of the frame here. Okay, so it's quite complicated. We don't have to design it. There are engineers designing frames to make them more effective. But when it comes to the PVC, we don't have to interrupt the material because PVC, it's a plastic, it's a thermal insulating material. So we don't have this element, we don't have these issues, the same issues that we have with aluminum, but we have to create more cavities to prevent heat from entering the building. Every time we have an air cavity, it acts as a thermal insulation. So if we create a lot of air cavities, as you can see, there are a lot of air cavities. So we increase the thermal insulating properties of that material. So we have wood. So the wood is very easy to understand because it's a solid material. Then we have aluminum details. In the aluminum detail, we have fewer cavities, but we need this thermal rake material, something made of plastic that connects this part of aluminum and that part of aluminum. But the rubber is the same. We have a rubber here, we have another rubber there. So we create this airtight chamber when the window is closed, okay? And then with the PVC detail, we have a very complicated profile. We have a lot of air cavities, but again, when the window is closed, we have rubber here, we have rubber there, we have this air with this chamber, and we have the movable part and the fixed part. Okay, so this is what windows are like. Okay, so in PVC, we have this red element. You see, this is not for breaking. It's not the same as the aluminum one, in which we interrupted the aluminum element. Here we don't interrupt the PVC element. This is to reinforce the structure. Okay, so this element is made of something metallic, because the PVC, it's not something that can bear a lot of loads. So when we have a very wide window with aluminum, it works. With wood, it works. But with the PVC, we need a reinforcement. So we have this element that when we have long window, it's like a reinforcement from the structural point of view. So windows are complicated, and we have to deal with them. So I don't want you to do this, all the cavities. Probably there are families, or there are Revit families for windows, and we can download this from what are window brands. What? Marvin. Yes. Well, I'm a European guy, so I'm going to recommend you European windows. So in Europe, when you want to insert a high quality window, and you have to make sure that something is good quality, you have to go to German brands. So there's the most famous and most expensive German brand is Schuko. I don't know how they spell it, Schuko. Window frames, Schuko. Oh, it's easier than I expected. Okay, so this German brand, it's well, it has a Schuko. Yes, so that's the website. High quality window frames. Okay, so the design, it's outstanding. It's very beautiful. They are, I think most of their details are made of aluminum. So here you see the aluminum profile with a triple glazing. And well, they have engineers designing these kind of things. So that will be the option for the aluminum frame. I'm sure that if you Google Revit families for these kind of windows, they have it. There is another good brand, which is Tecnal. Tecnal aluminum windows. Let's see. Products. Okay, so they have curtain walls. They have greenhouses, windows or frames for shops and office for security. So they have a lot of materials, and they are good at doing these kind of things. Okay. So if we go to products, we can find sections, and I'm sure that we can find Revit families for this. We're not going to do that. What was your brand? Marvin. Like this. Oh, hello.
9:45.
Yeah, sure. It's not snowing. So yes, we have Marvin windows, and I want to see the products. Windows. All windows. Yeah, okay, it's different. Most of them are made of wood. So that's the difference. So here you use more wood than we use in Europe. I don't know why, but the main or the, yeah, I think most of the windows here are made of wood. Anyway, so I'm sure that if you Google Marvin Windows families for Revit, you will find, and you can download it. But we're going to create our own family of windows because we are learning Revit. So instead of downloading an element, we are going to create our own window. First, if we want to see what Revit does in terms of windows, we can create a wall here. We can insert a window, a skylight, the fixed window, and then we can insert the window there. Okay, so it does a good job because, well, here we need everything, or we have everything that we need for a window. You see that we open the wall, and we need a finish. Okay, so we need a window finish, and we have the same window finish in the walls, in the lintel, and in the sill of the window. Okay, so we have this element, and then here we have the openable frame or window frame. So does it work? Yes, kind of. How or what does a section look like? So let's I have created this window. I'm going to view a section. Here. So that's it. Okay, so this is what Revit, we can increase the level of detail. So this is what Revit offers. So we have all this complexity of details. Okay, for Revit, this is it, what we have. It's good. I mean, if we are not dealing with details. That's all we need. We have a frame. We have the window finish around the window, and that's it. Can we do something different? If we use a window call out here, and we look at this window call out, the level of detail doesn't do any better, but there are some elements. If we go to annotate and we have components, detail components, here we have a claddwood sliding window sill. Okay, so you see that we can have these kind of details. It's slightly better, okay? But remember, this is a 2D element. If we go to the 3D view, we don't see that stuff because it's not there. It's not 3D. Okay, so we can use some of the Revit families for details. We can use these for callouts, but it's not great. If we try to insert more families, detail items, and here we should find windows, wooden plastic openings, wood doors, metal, wood windows. Okay, so if we find wood windows, we have here different details. We have plan sections. Those are sliding windows. I wouldn't recommend sliding windows. They're less airtight than other kind of windows. Okay, so all these are either hung windows that you open the windows that way, or sliding windows that they slide horizontally. So we don't, oh, so those are the projecting windows, are the windows that are not sliding. Okay, so we open this, and then we go again to annotate component, detail component. So this is what we have. It's not great, and it works only in 2D. Okay, so if you want to give because this is what the 3D window object has. So basically, those are rectangles, and we don't have any information about all that stuff that makes a window a high quality window. So the rubber here, we have the that air cavity here when the window is closed. This is the fixed frame. This is the movable frame. Okay, so all this information, it's there, but only as a 3D, as a 2D object, not as a 3D object. Okay, so it's good, but we are doing something more advanced, so probably this won't be enough. So let's delete it. I'm going to delete all these too. And I'm going to try to build a window around this element. It's not easy. So first, we have to okay, so we have to analyze these two, this detail, and then the other one. we are going to draw this part. This is indoors, and all that stuff is outdoors. Okay, let's do it. So first, what do we have? We have this. So remember that at the top of this thermal insulation, I have to create that first square element. This one. And I'm going to use an option that I think we have used before. It's the sweep option. So we're going to create like a sketch, and then we're going to create a profile, and then we're going to move that sketch along a profile. And I think we're going to do this different times with all these elements that we have in the window. So let's do it. First, I think I'm going to create like a reference plane in the middle of a window. So the window, it's here. So I'm going to create architecture reference plane. So I'm going to create a reference plane here. It was hidden by default. So I'm going to name this reference plane mid window. So that reference plane is going to be somewhere here in the middle of the window. I think I'm going to use this section box. So I'm going to move the section box here. So now I can see the section of the window because I want to create that shape here. Okay. So I'm going to go to architecture, model line, and let's set the work plane on that reference plane mid window. And now I can draw this. So I'm going to do a 2-inch element here. Okay, so you see that I have created that on the 3D view. I'm working on that mid-plane window, and it's there. Okay. So now I can use this, and I'm going to move this shape around this window, okay? Because this element, it's like a frame that it's at the perimeter of the window. So let's try to do it. If I go to architecture, component, modeling place, do we have windows? Yes, so all these belong to windows. I'm going to select solid sweep. First, I have to sketch the path. So the path, I'm going to pick elements. The path is here. No, that's not the right one. So if, no. Problem, I don't know why it doesn't show up. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Remember that I created this shape here, and then I created this green path along the window. And then what I want is to move this shape along this path, so that I want to create like a frame using that shape. I'm going to do this many times. Well, many times. I'm going to do this with this square profile, then I'm going to do it with the shape of the windows. The shape will be more complicated, but once we have the right path, it will go smoothly, I hope. So let's go to architecture, component, model in place. I'm going to use windows. I'm going to create sweep. I'm going to pick the path. So if I want to pick the path, I can't select, or maybe I can, if I press tab. Okay, so I'm going to select this path because it's better. It's the green line that I have created. So I have this path, okay? And now I want to select the profile. So I edit profile, and I select these pick lines, and I pick 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now I have the path here. I click OK, and click OK again, and this is what I get. Okay. The problem is that I didn't select the whole path. I could have done it, but I'm going to edit sweep. So by editing sweep, I want to pick path again. So that's the first part. Then pick path. And by clicking pick 3D edges, now I have to select this element here, another one here, and now I have to trim. If I trim this and this, this and that, and here, this and this, and this and that, now I think it will work. Yes. I don't know what materials we have here. Probably we don't have any material. Yes, we don't have any material. This is a component model in place. So if we want to assign a material here, it's the same. We have to edit in place, and we have to select the material again. And here by category. Usually the material that we have in these window frames is sash. So we have a material by the name of sash, which is wood, plastic, finish, carpentry. Yeah, so by default in Revit, we have this material for all these window frames. Okay, so we can use this sash, which is basically wood, but that's a material that works well here. Well, this one, it's something that I can copy. Well, I won't do it. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to move this section box. I want to have a section of the window. Then I'm here again. We have to create that profile on the top of this window. Where a good question. I think I'm going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to set the work plane on this reference plane, on this mid window reference plane. Okay, and now I'm going to create another model line from the midpoint of this beam, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. Oh, it's I want it to be 2 inches. Here. Okay. So now in hidden line, I have this profile here, and I'm going to do it again. Okay, so I'm going to move this section box because I want to see the whole window. And now let's do it again. Remember that we used architecture, component, model in place. This is Windows. We are working with the sweep. We are going to pick a path. So the path is the same. So I'm going to pick this path. Okay. Now, if I continue picking 3D edges, then I can pick this one. And this one. And this one. Okay, so that was easier. And now I have to select profile. I edit the profile. I pick lines here. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. I click OK. And I hope it will work. Yes. And finish the model. Okay, the second one was easier. So I have created this frame and then this second frame there. So I have created number 1, number 2. Now we're going to create the number 3. The number 3 is the fixed part of the window frame. This is not even the window frame. It's a substructure that we need to hold the window, but this is not part of the window frame. Okay, so this is something different. So this is something that we use to fix the window frame to it. So let's do the same. Let's work with the section box. I want to see the window section. And I'm going to create that profile now. Okay, so I go to the front view. And what I want now is to create that fixed part of the window frame. Let's do it. It's architecture, set, work plane, the reference plane, mid window, same. And now I'm going to model lines because I want to create that profile. So I'm going to go ½ inch this way. Then let's say 1 inch that way. 2 inches. This is 3 inches. So I go 3.5. And then I go up 1 inch. Then 1/4. Then I go 45 degrees down, like 1/2. And I keep moving this way, this way. I think it was 1 inch in this direction. Go up, and now bring it. Okay, so you see that I have created this. I have used this element to fix the fixed part of the window frame. Okay, and then I created this line that is fixed on this wooden element that I created before. So a window, we are going to do the same. We're going to use a sweep, and we're going to sweep this profile along the perimeter of the window. So that's number 3, and then I'll do number 4. Splitting hairs. Okay, I'm going to move. See, okay. Let me check. Okay, I didn't have this. I didn't have this line. It has to be a closed shape. If it's not a closed shape, I don't know if it will work or not. But now I have this element. And what I want to do is to move this like half inch. Well, 1/4 of an inch in this direction. Right. Okay, like this. I'll let you know why I'm doing that. Okay, but just don't make this on this edge. Just give a gap, leave a gap here. I think it was 1/4 of an inch, this gap. And yeah, now I think it works. So once we have this shape, and now I need to apply the sweep. So I want to move the section box. And let's do it. Architecture, component, modeling place, windows, sweep. I'm going to pick the path. I'm going to select the path, this one, and then pick 3D edges, that one, this one, and this one. Now click OK. Now edit profile. So if we want to edit the profile, we have to pick all the lines that I have created before. Make sure that you don't forget any of the lines. And there is only one left. This one. I don't know why we have this gap, but anyway. And make sure that all the pink lines are connected. And if we do this, whoop, beautiful. Okay, so now I have this swipe element that I have done with this. I don't know, now what is the finish that we want for that window? We can use wood, or we can use aluminum, or we can use PVC. So I'm going to edit in place. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select material, aluminum. And now in the realistic view, that will be aluminum. I don't mind the material. If you like wood, you can select wood. The important thing is that we have the swipe element, and we have this, okay? Now we have done number 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to create number 4, which is the movable leaf of that window. So let's do it again. The box here, the front view. Let's make it hidden. Okay. I'm going to draw the other profile. The set plane, it's the reference plane is mid-window. And now I'm going to draw the movable part of this. And I'm going to do even the rubber. Okay, so I'm going to do this. If there's a gap that will be filled by this rubber. Okay, so I'm doing this window. So let's do it. If we go to model line, I leave a gap here. Okay, so I can use this line as a reference for this gap. And I can do this with 2 inches. Then I will need ½ inch here. Then I can go 3/4. And this is 2 3/4. Okay, so I need 1/4, 3. And then 1 inch, ½ inch more, 3.5. 3.5. Then I move it downwards because I want to cover that, because I want to use the rubber and I want this gap here. So here I need ½ inch. And here, there you go. Okay, I'm simplifying the profile. You remember that what I'm doing is something like that. Okay, so I'm simplifying a lot those profiles, but at least we should understand that we always have this gap between the movable and the fixed part of the window. So we have this, and now I can go to the 3D view again. I need to see the whole window. And then I'm going to use architecture, component, model in place, window, sweep, pick path, and I'm picking this one. And then that one, that one, that one. Okay. Finish. Now I have to edit the profile, and I want to pick all these elements: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. And click OK. Perfect. Okay, so now we have a window that looks like an actual window. And the good thing is that if now apply the section, if we look at this, we can see the actual section of a window. Both places, here in the sill and in the lintel of the window, we see the actual section. But remember that we need a rubber element here so that we have something that make this chamber airtight. Okay. So let's do the same. I have created this section, front. Now I'm going to apply a rubber here and another there. The problem with this swipe is that I can't do this at the same time, so I have to do 2 of them. Okay. So let's go to architecture. Do I need to? Let me try if I can, because this is a very simple drawing. I'm going to do just a square or a rectangle. So let me see if I can do the sweep without doing first the profile. Okay, so let's try. Component, model in place. window, and I'm going to sweep. I'm going to pick the path. Oh, to pick the path, sorry. I have to see the whole window like this. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to draw the rectangle, and I'm going to do it the same way because I don't think it will work. So I go to architecture, set the work plane, and mid window, and here I just need a model line, but that model line, it's a rectangle. So I'm going to draw this rectangle here, and I'm going to draw that rectangle there. Okay. And now I can do it again. I can show the whole window. I have to go to component, model in place, window, sweep, pick path. I pick the same path. Now I edit profile. And by editing the profile, now I have to see the wireframe because I want to pick that profile here. This one, that one, and that one. Okay. Then I finish, click, and I have it. Finish model. I'm going to do it again because I want to do the same with this profile here. So I'm going to architecture, no, component, model in place, windows, sweep, pick path, the same path. Now I go to the wireframe, I edit the profile, and I select this one. There you go. Okay, so now you see that between these two frames, the internal frame and the fixed frame, I have this element, and this element is rubber. Okay, so I can edit in place. I can select this again, and this can be the material, can be the EPDM. This EPDM, it's this rubber that we used for the roof, but we can use it here because it's the same black material that we have here. Okay, and the same thing. Same thing where. Well, I don't think we see the other one, but at least this is exposed, and yeah, so that's it. I'm going to make this material aluminum too. And there you go. We're almost there. So we have created element number one. number 2, number 3, number 4. We have even created these two rubber bands around the window to create the air tightness thing. And now we're going to do the number 5. But the number 5 is not around the window, it's just in the seal. Okay, so we want, if the water comes here, we want to get rid of water. So that's why I have created this gap between the fixed frame and this element number 2. I created this gap because I want to fix that element. This is a flashing, it's made of something metallic, so that if water comes here, we need this slope, that slope, and then the slope moves the water out. And that covers this part of the wall that I don't want to expose to the water or the wind. Okay, so I cover this part here. So let's do it again. And yep, I have to select the window, front. I want to see the hidden line, and that's the gap, okay, that I want to. So I'm going to create this, and I'm going to go with the slope, and I want to cover all this part of the wall that is there. So let's do it. Architecture, set window plane, it's in the mid window. Then I'm going to draw this model line. So I have to move this down. I need a slope, okay? Then I want to cover this part of the window like this. And I'm going to do this 1/4. I'm going to apply offset 1/4 in this direction. Then trim. And I have to complete this profile. With a wireframe. Now I have all this. So now I'm going to work. This could be a extrusion, but I'm going to use the sweep because I'm getting used to it. Model in place, window, sweep, pick path. I'm going to pick this path. Only that one, because I don't want to go all the way up. It's just for the horizontal element. Then I want to edit the profile. I have to see this in the wireframe. And this is the profile that I want to pick. This one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now this is closed. I click OK, click OK again. And there you go. So we have this element protecting the rest of the wall. So it's quite a good detail that we are doing here. Okay. If we move it, the section box, because I want to see the section of this window. Okay, So now we have this element to fix the fixed frame here. Then we have this flashing that moves the water out. There will be another rubber band here to seal this gap, but it's very unlikely that the water can go up. Okay, so but it's in the real world, we will use another rubber band, the same we have used here, to seal the gap that we have here. Okay, and are we done? Well, we need something to cover this part of the window. Okay, so you see that we have this element here, and we have this. So here, yeah, so that this white stuff, you see, that goes from the fixed part to this, and it, well, that's the finish for the internal wall. So that's the internal board. I'm going to hide it in view. Okay, so we will need something to cover this gap we have here. So I'm going to do something, it's just a rectangle like that. So let's do it again. I'm going to set the work plane here, and I'm going to model a line. So I want to cover all these gaps. How much? Here. There. Okay, so now again, component, model in place, window, sweep, pick path is this one. So now I have to pick all these because I want to cover all the perimeter of the window. There you go. Yes. Well, I did something wrong. I showed this, and now I have trouble picking the path. So we have to be careful now. It's that one. This one. There you go. Okay, so now I have created this element, and we have covered the wall that way. Realistic, and this can be aluminum or it can be wood. It's up to you, but you see that we have covered that. And then if we do this, we have all these elements. Okay, so we have this element covering this path and all that stuff. So is it worth doing this? If we are creating these kind of details, we have to, okay? Because you see that here we have all these elements that the Revit file, the Revit window by default doesn't give us. But if we are working just for the preliminary design, nobody does this. But if we are working in a detailed, so if we have to apply all the details, then we need all these elements. I think it's good for you, and that's why I am spending some time doing this, because you become familiar with the suite option. If you do it 5 or 6 times, you will master this, and next time it will be a piece of cake. And second, I'm old-fashioned, and I think the only way to understand things is drawing them. So I have to draw this in the board or in the paper to get to understand all these elements. And now we have done this in 3D. So if after all this you don't understand what the window is about, then we have a problem. But we tend to think that Windows, it's very easy. Click window, so let there be a window, cling, and Revit does it. But it doesn't have all the complexity that a window has. Okay, so opening a window in a wall, it's always something difficult, and it creates a lot of weak points that little by little we have to solve. Okay, so you see that. And the good thing of doing this by Revit is that there's a human being doing this. There's a human being placing that frame. There's another human being placing this part of the window. There's another one placing the movable part of the window. There's another one doing this flashing to prevent the water from entering that. So we understand what is like to design a window. So when we see those pictures of people working on a workshop, they are doing this. Okay, so we can do that in Revit here, warm and without. But if someone has to do this on site, it's difficult, and they have to do this. So you say, oh, I'm wasting my time doing this. I have to do this right. Okay, there's a human being doing this, and now you can, once you are done with this wall, you can copy this wall to the second floor and to the third floor. But windows are made one by one. There is no copy in the real world. It's not, okay, I have a window, copy. No, it doesn't happen. So you have to do it one by one. So I think it's interesting to get to know what it takes. And we are here simplifying things. We're not doing all the complexity of these profiles. We're just placing all the elements. Good news, we are done with this, and when we are done with the window, we can copy all these walls with the window included on the second floor, and we only have to do the roof. So on Friday, I promise that, okay, so we are done with all these Windows elements. We are not done with this frame inside. Okay, but it will take just a few seconds to do it on Friday. Then we will copy this on the second floor, and we will work with the roof. The roof is a piece of cake because you see that we only have, it's the same as the wall. We have rafters, then we have cellulose, then we have a vented roof. You have already done it. So I'm not going to explain step by step how to do the roof because you have already done the detail of a vented roof. So you know the components. So I will go faster. And